At one point in this story, a stranger points a cow's udder at me and shoots me in the face with milk. That's not even the most memorable part of the day. That's why I want to tell you this story. That's me. Me in 2017. Me outside of my comfort zone. Me really, really outside of my comfort zone. This man is a stranger. That's a bunch of cheese. This was a really surprising day.
This is awesome.
The story starts, I am out in the middle of nowhere in West Texas, driving to a town I've never been to before for an appointment with a man that I have never met. My friend Isaac is with me to film the whole thing, just in case something interesting happens. I'm excited because I'm going to get to do something I've always wanted to, but I'm also nervous because I feel like there are just a million ways that this could go wrong. But I also kind of always feel that way. Expectations versus reality. My expectations get me in trouble because they're usually wrong. Sometimes you expect something to be a complete disaster and it turns out pretty well. Sometimes you expect something to take all day and it only takes 30 minutes to do. Sometimes you expect a fart and you're wrong. Sometimes you expect things to go bad and then it's even worse than you ever imagined. Like your little brain wasn't even capable of coming up with all of the ways that this is going to be terrible. You're just surprised by how awful it is around every corner. There are new nightmares. This is not one of those stories. This is a story about dreams coming true. Possible titles for this story: Milking Destiny, The Cow Juice Conundrum, The Paper Castle of Dairyland, Straight from the Uts, The Art of Self-Control Around Slappable Cheese, Milk Voyage. Here's what you need to know about me. I'm bad at setting goals. I have a lot of things where it's like, I would like this to happen, but I'm also not going to do anything about it to make it happen. Dreams I'm not actually doing anything about. Writing a novel, I got a lot of ideas. Having abs, sometimes I just think about how cool it'd be to have a six-pack. You're just like out in public and you like rip your shirt off and it's just like, boom, and everyone's like, wow, like blown away by it. Just covered in abs, just one on my butt, one on my forehead. It would be incredible. But I don't have that. I have the opposite. Everything kind of jiggles and folds, and I have some pairs of pants that are sit-down pants. For the longest time, I've wanted to milk a cow. I don't know why. I don't know where the idea first came from, but like I just want to know what it feels like. You know, I just want to be able to say that I've done it. So just like for the longest time in the back of my mind, I want it. It's like a vague little dream. I never thought that it would actually happen, but I wanted to. Where am I supposed to find a milkable cow? I don't have any friends who have a cow. At least I don't think I do. Unless somebody has like a secret cow that they've been hiding from me. They just like sneak it under their bed every time I come over. I don't want to do it illegally either. I don't want to be like driving down the highway and I see a cow in a field and I'm like, yo! And I pull over and I hop a fence and I'm like, here we go! And the cow's like, oh no! Like, I don't want to do that. More dreams I'm not actually pursuing. Doing the splits. This one isn't that serious. I just have like a couple of different things that I think would be really funny to get really good at in complete secret. And then just like one day out of the blue, just surprise people with it. I don't seem like the type of person who would be able to do the splits. I just think it'd be funny if I just like practiced and trained just stretched and stretched. And then just like one day at like a wedding or a funeral that I'm trying to make fun, I'm like, hey, guess what I can do? And then just like break down into the splits and everyone be like, what? Wait, how long have you been? And just like, it's been a secret. Same with breakdancing. If I just like no one's gonna expect me to be good at breakdancing, but if I just worked at it for so long in secret and I became like an incredible breakdancer, and then again, I'm like at a wedding or a really cool funeral and I just like break out some break and everyone's gonna be like, what? Since when? And I'll be like, since always. It's embarrassing when you finally do the thing that you've been putting off for so long and then you discover that it was so much easier than you thought it was gonna be. That's what happened with the whole cow thing. Because for years, I wasn't doing anything, like I wasn't pursuing it because I didn't feel like I had any good leads. Like what was pursuing it? What am I gonna do? What? One day I just got on Facebook and I said, hey, Does anyone know a cow I can milk? You know, just some classic social media networking to find a milkable cow. That's what LinkedIn should be for. By the end of the day, a friend of mine commented and said that he actually knows a dairy farmer who would love for me to come and check out his farm and milk one of those bad boys. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I knew anybody who knew a dairy farmer. Even more dreams I'm doing nothing with. Buy Chipotle catering for just myself. This is a fantasy that I have sometimes. Buying catering and bringing it home and nobody else is there and it's just me and all these giant containers full of meat and cheese and rice and there's nobody there to tell me no or charge me extra and I am in control of the portions and I'm forced to eat everything in the bathtub and I just lay in the bathtub covered in catering. Buying one of those ear cleaners with a camera attached. I want to do this, but I also know that I should not be allowed to do that. Like, we can all agree that I shouldn't be able to go on Amazon and buy a camera that they use in a colonoscopy, right? Like, I shouldn't be allowed to do that on my own at home, but sticking something in my ear, everyone's fine with that. Like, I'm pretty sure I could do some damage. Oh, but I want to try. I call the dairy farmer. We set up an appointment, and a few weeks later, me and my friend Isaac are driving out to West Texas to milk some cows. The whole thing came together so quickly, it was like I didn't have time to really sit down and think about all the ways that this could go wrong. But now that I was driving out there, I had plenty of time to catch up on my anxious thoughts. Did I even remember to tell the dairy farmer I was planning on filming this whole thing? What if he doesn't want to be on camera? How are you supposed to act at a dairy farm? What are the do's and don'ts? I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get yelled at in front of a cow. I'm bad at talking to strangers. I'm probably even worse at talking to strangers on a farm. There were too many unknowns. I didn't know what to expect, and I was just afraid that there was no way that I was going to be able to handle it.
What's the worst possible thing that could happen? Worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario, I pull an udder off. I don't know if that's possible, but worst case scenario, I go, and then I go, do you want this back?
Best case scenario.
Best case scenario, I love it. The cow loves it. The people who work there love it, and I become sponsored by them.
Do you think that that'll happen?
No.
People I want to meet. If it worked with the cow, and I'm just going to put this out there just in case you know somebody who knows somebody. So I would love to meet a personal assistant to a magician, a judge, an animal chiropractor. What you doing popping that horse's back? A corn dog enthusiast. That, I know that's not a job, but if you would label yourself as that, I would be interested in having a conversation with you. Someone married to someone afraid of Bigfoot. Someone who got a job in museum security because they loved Night at the Museum as a kid. There's gotta be somebody, right? A colonoscopy camera operator. Because, like, what do you enjoy about your job? The Pope's dentist. I know that this is a very narrow field. There's probably only one. He probably doesn't have like a fleet of dentists at his side at all times. And there's probably a good chance that nobody I know actually knows who the Pope's, I don't know if you do. How would we even find out who the Pope's dentist is? But if we do, and you're watching this, hey, how's it going? I'd love to talk and find out about your life. What is it like? How long have you been a dentist? How long have you been a dentist to the Pope? It'd be a really good conversation. I'm not Catholic and I'm not good at taking care of my teeth. So you have like 2 opportunities to convert me. When we get to the farm, there's no turning back.
What if we get murdered here?
We pull in, go to the main office.
Hi there.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. We were late.
And we meet Stuart, the dairy farmer, who is all smiles. He is so excited to see us. He was excited to see anyone or anything. This guy was just giddy about being alive. He had been dairy farming his entire life and he just seemed to love it. He takes us into the barn where the milking happens.
You been in a barn before? I have not. Never.
It smells terrible. It smells so bad. It smells so bad. Stuart is talking to us all sorts of, telling us about cows and milk. And I can't hear a single thing that he's saying because the stink. The cows come in the smell intensifies. Stuart shows us how to milk the cow, and it's not what I expected at all. It's not like when people mime milking a cow, they go like, "Brr, brr, brr, brr." That's not how you do it. That's how you hurt somebody. What you do is you pinch it at the top and then you wrap the rest of your fingers around it and then it shoots out like a water gun. And I know this because Stuart shot me in the face with milk. The worst part is that I saw it coming. I knew it was going to happen.
Stand right there.
I saw the little glint he got in his eye.
Now you gotta get him when I...
All right.
You gotta make sure you get his face here.
And to make it worse, it didn't happen immediately. It would have been better if it was instantaneous, just like I'm standing there and he's like, oh, what you do is bah! And just like, bah! Like shot me in the butt. It didn't, there was a misfire.
Are you looking down on this thing here?
Yeah.
You see where the milk comes out there?
Yeah. Oh.
There was a misfire and he missed with the aim. And then eventually it got to, and just like the whole time I'm just standing there like taking it. Cause like, what else am I supposed to do? I'm trying so hard to laugh it off, but I am kind of in shock. I'm just standing there like, it's so good. Oh, thank you so, but I'm like, I don't know what's going on. What is that? Was this an initiation? Does this happen to everybody who comes to your farm? Do I have to get baptized by cow juice? I'm just like trying to smile and it's like, thank you, thank you. Stuart really thought it was funny.
So anyways, here, you got, I really wanted to nail you good.
I get to milk the cow.
Clamp the top off, then squeeze the rest of the fingers. Hey, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Dadgum, you should buy a dairy farm.
I'm really good at it. No big deal. It doesn't matter. I'm a natural. Stuart says so himself. He says I should be a dairy farmer. Don't worry about it. Isaac gets to milk the cow too. He does pretty good. Not as good as me, but he does pretty good. And then Stuart looks at me and he asks, do you want to drink it? And I'm like, what? I was definitely caught off guard, but I'm glad that he brought it up because that was one of the main reasons I wanted to go out there in the first place. I didn't want to just touch Utz. I wanted to drink raw milk, but I forgot to mention that in the initial conversation setting up this appointment. And I didn't know how I was supposed to bring it up. I don't want to do it without asking. I don't want to just like grab it and be like, bah! Like that. That doesn't seem wise or kind. I was also nervous about doing it because I didn't know how my body was going to react. I don't like milk. I think it's gross.
I feel like I have to go undercover as someone who likes milk. Like I'm scared to let them know that I don't like this stuff. I need to keep that under wraps, right? Like I can't just go like, hey, oh wow, it's so cool to see this stuff that you do to make a thing that I hate.
Here's what's wrong with milk. I can't think about milk for too long without gagging. It's too gross. Just thinking about it, man. Why do we drink it? It's too white. What else do you drink in nature that is that white? Nothing. It shouldn't be. It's not good. Let's change it at least. Make it not so white anymore. Make it clear. Make it like Sprite. Sprite milk. People would like that. Babies love milk, and babies are wrong. They got no taste. They got no class. They don't know what's good for them. Don't do anything a baby does. Am I also lactose intolerant? Yes, I am. Thank you for asking. But that's not the main reason I don't like milk. I didn't always know I was lactose intolerant. For the longest time, I was consuming dairy and just assuming everybody else's body reacted the same way that mine did. It was when I was in college that I had a conversation with my mom that it started with me saying, what do you mean not everybody has diarrhea all the time? And then it ended with her being like, I think you should go to a doctor. She took me to one of these doctors. Don't make me try to pronounce it. A gastroenterologist. Oh, well, that wasn't as hard as I thought. A gastroenterologist. You know, when you see it spelled out like that, it does make it easier to say. A gastroenterologist. He made me give up dairy for a week just to see what would happen. That's when I found out sour cream is dairy. Uh-oh. He also made me get a colonoscopy, which is a wild experience.
Hey Mom, do you remember the time that I had to get a colonoscopy?
Oh yes, clearly.
Clearly.
I'm sorry, that sounds...
Well, how did it even start? Like, how did this whole thing even start? Do you remember?
You were having a lot of stomach issues, a lot of diarrhea, and so we went to see a gastroenterologist.
Well, also too, I just thought it was normal. You were like, how often do you have diarrhea? And I was like, every other day. And you were like, what? And you were like, you have to go to a doctor. So do you remember the process? Because you've had one. I don't know, should I have mentioned that?
Yes, when you reach a certain age, you're supposed to have one for a health reason.
Get ready, everybody. You got one coming your way.
So, yes, I knew what to expect, and there was a prep you had to do.
Right, where you drink a really gross thing. And then you went with me to the doctor.
Because yes, you have to be sedated. So
yeah,
someone has
good, great. That's how it should be.
Someone has to drive you home. No, but what was funny is that of course you're only 19 and the room was full of people, majority of people older than 50. And so one of the things that they do afterwards is they encourage you to pass gas because they have added air to your abdomen while they're doing this to get the right pictures.
And so right when they wake you up from being sedated, they're like, telling you gotta fart.
Yes. And so you, of course, having your own comedic personality said, I'm gonna fart the best. I'm gonna fart the loudest and the best of anybody in here. And of course you're still somewhat sedated, but you were determined that you were going to.
And do you remember, did I?
You know, you were just farting like everybody else.
I also remember that the woman who sedated me, I don't know how it came about, but we had a mutual friend.
Oh no.
She went to church with Goody.
Oh my
and I'm like laying there and like my butt is out and she's like, oh, you know Goody? Oh, I know Goody. And I'm like, no, let's not talk about this.
After everything, the results were clear. I was lactose intolerant. The doctor was like, oh, I guess that means you can't have dairy anymore. And I was like, oh, I guess that means you don't know me very well. It doesn't mean I have to stop having dairy. It just means that I know what to expect now. It just means that I know that I can't be more than 30 feet from a bathroom after I eat nachos. The only time I ever use my lactose intolerance to get out of dairy is with milk. But with going to this dairy farm, I thought I should give myself a refresher course. It's actually been a while since I've tried milk. I should go back and make sure, do I really not like it?
Hello? Hey, I just had a quick question for you.
Alright, go.
Okay, I haven't drank milk in over 20 years, and I was gonna drink milk for the first time for a video. What kind of milk should I drink?
Okay, well, you've come to the right place. 2% is pretty standard.
That's a modern man's milk?
I'd say so, yeah.
Alright, have you ever had soy milk?
You know, that's funny you say that. I actually used to be lactose intolerant and I only used to be able to drink soy milk.
Oh, how is that? Is it gross?
It's not great. I think if you drink whole milk, you'll probably die. I think if you drink skim milk, you'll probably spit it out. I think you should go 2%.
Okay, 2%? Why would I die from whole milk?
It's just so thick. I just don't think your little mouth can hold it.
Okay, here I go. I'm driving to Walmart, gonna buy some milk, I'm gonna drink it. My biggest fear, the thing I keep thinking about when I picture myself doing this, I'm scared of what my throw up face is gonna look like. Because obviously I'm probably gonna gag, and I'm probably gonna wanna vomit. And I don't know what that face looks like, and I don't know if I want it on camera. There's no way I like it. I'm gonna be like, oh wow, this is great. Oh, I've been missing out. There's no way. It smells the way that I remember it would. All right, here we go. This is 2% milk. This is what everyone tells me is the most milky. I remember you. Okay, that's the one that everyone told me wouldn't be so bad. Whole milk, a whole lot of milk. This is thicker. Oh. Oh, well now, that's some milk. People drink this for breakfast. All right, so this isn't even like real milk, right? This is plants? Oh boy. Okay, this smells this is vanilla-y. Okay, I like vanilla. I love it. Ooh, it's my favorite. This is my favorite drink. Okay, that's not that bad. I still don't want a big old cup of it. Goat's milk. Milk from a goat. I mean, how much worse can it be than cow milk? It could be a lot worse. This could be real bad. I just did the daintiest little sip.
But what if raw milk was different? Like, it has to go through all sorts of processes before it gets put into a jug. And what if before it goes through all that stuff, milk is actually delicious? I knew I needed to try it. I need to get my hands on some milk straight from the Utz.
Okay, we'll get a glass.
Okay.
We'll melt one by hand.
All right.
Get you a good foamy cup. Okay, we'll get a cup.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
When Stuart went to go get the cup, all I could think was, please don't throw up. Please don't throw up. That just feels so disrespectful to the cow, you know? It's just standing there and it's like, hey, that wasn't even for you, and you're wasting it? Suddenly it all just felt so real.
There you go, man.
That was just in a cow a second ago. A second ago, this was in a cow. I was having second thoughts. I was holding it and it was so warm and it was so frothy and I knew that I felt like there was no way I could do this. There's no way that I would not barf. I couldn't handle all those other milks. What makes me think I'm gonna be able to handle this milk? This is raw milk. This is unfiltered, untouched. No Photoshop has touched this milk, and I think that I'm gonna be able to drink it? Oh no! Why did I bring a camera? But then Stuart, the dairy farmer, is standing right next to me, and he's like, do it. He's like peer pressuring me.
I'm so nervous.
Come on, man.
Especially to drink it
Take
in
her
front
down.
of you. I feel like...
Take her down.
And I do it. I drink it, and it's good.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
I genuinely like it. I don't throw up. I don't even gag. I like drink it. And it's much easier to drink than any other milk I have had up until this point. I mean, I'm not going to like push my luck and try to chug the whole thing. I like take a couple of drinks and I'm like, that's pretty good. And then I hand it to Isaac. He drinks it. He likes it even more than I do. He drinks even more.
This is really good.
It is.
I'm gonna drink all of this.
It's good. I don't know. It's crazy. And I feel pretty accomplished. Like I did it. I got to do two things that I've always wanted to do. And I never thought I would be able to do it. And look how easy it was to make it happen. I've wanted to milk a cow. Where am I supposed to find a milkable cow? Does anyone know a cow I can milk?
Oh, wow.
The only problem was we had only been there for like 30 minutes. We couldn't just leave. I drove hours and hours to get here. This man cleared part of his day to be with us. I can't leave now. We gotta find something else to do. He offered to give us a tour of the rest of the dairy farm, but I don't know. I didn't know what else there was going to be to show it. Like what, didn't we see all the interesting stuff? What else is there to see? And then he took us into a room that was crammed full of wheels of cheese. I've never been in a room like this in my entire life. I didn't know that rooms like this existed. He's standing there telling me all about how they aged this cheese, and I am not listening to a single thing that he is saying because all I can think about is how much I want to slap all that cheese. Let me slap that cheese. If you were to put me in a room with just one wheel of cheese, it'd be hard enough for me not to slap it. But I am surrounded by temptation in this room. All I can think about is slapping that cheese. He's talking to me. I'm not listening.
Field for 7 years, choosing Zanzibar. Oh, wow.
I'm trying to play it cool, but I want to go ham on that cheese. I'm trying to put on a face that says like, yes, I am listening and I care and this is important. Meanwhile, I'm just like, pop, 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 pop. What do you think it feels like? What do you think it sounds like when you slap it? Do you think if you slap it hard enough, you leave an imprint of your hand? I want to slap that cheese so bad. Just leave me in that room overnight and let me play the bongos until I pass out. Please, let me slap that cheese. I'm glad Stuart waited until we were out of that room to say what he said next, because then I could actually listen and process what he was saying. Our day would have gone very differently if I had missed it and just let him move on.
Oh, and this room is made out of paper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this whole building is made out of paper.
Wow.
This whole building is made out of paper. What? He said he was at a farmer's convention and they showed off this new way of building. It's basically like a fancy version of paper mache. And he thought it was interesting, so he thought, oh, why not try that at my dairy farm? So he built this building that turned into his cheese dungeon. And he was like, that was actually pretty easy and super cheap. Why don't I keep doing this? Why don't I build more things out of paper? Why don't I build a house out of paper? So I did. And he's like, well, I did it. I built a house out of paper. Do you want to see it? And we were like, yeah. Expectations versus reality. My expectations are usually just worst case scenario. That's why I'm just so bad at following through with my goals. I just expect them all to end in disappointment. So why even bother? But then I meet somebody like Stuart and I want to be like him. He takes us to the other side of his property where there is this giant, crazy looking house that he has designed and built all on his own out of paper. As he takes us in and shows us around, he keeps pointing out all these little details and explaining the thought and intention behind it. And you can just tell with everything in this house, it is exactly the way that he dreamed it. And I'm jealous. Because my house is not at all the way that I want it to be. I have settled. I'm putting up with my house. These are pretty much the only things I have hanging on my walls. Two other things. And one of them's only hanging up because there was already a screw in the wall. And I was like, oh, that's easy. But like the idea of actually having to put things up, I don't want to do it. My expectations are it's going to take forever. It's going to be a disaster. I'm going to put way too many holes in the wall. Everything's going to be crooked. I'm not going to be able to figure out the spacing between the two things. Oh, is it because I don't own any artwork? No, I do. I got art. I've got so many things that are ready to go up on walls. This thing I got, these two are still in the plastic from when I got them framed. This one, I've had this one for over 5 years. I've lived in 3 different places in 5 years. Do you think it's been up on any of those walls? No, because I'm too scared to try. Meeting someone like Stuart forces me to confront how fearful I am. I'm afraid to learn how to hang a few frames on the wall, and this man isn't even afraid to learn how to build an entire house out of paper. It's not even just that I'm afraid of failure. It's that I'm afraid of failing in front of people. That's why I wouldn't even commit to drinking the milk. I took these tiny little drinks. I poured the biggest cup for myself every single time. And the risk of taking a gulp? No. It's why I'd only want to learn to be good at breakdancing in secret. I don't want to risk anyone seeing me be bad at breakdancing. That's why being in Stuart's living room was the most memorable part of the day. More than the milk spray or the cheese temptation, just standing there and listening to him talk through his journey with this house.
We built doors. We built all the forms for arches, all the walls, did all the finishing. We did the countertops, everything. And it's just been pretty cool how that If a person will try stuff, how you will figure out what's in you. As I had no idea. When I used to be Mr. Practical. Okay?
Yeah.
People they look at me now and they're like, oh, this guy is always, trying this new stuff. That wasn't me. I was 4 walls, a door, and a window is good enough. Don't need all this fancy stuff. But I learned that God loves beauty and stuff that is ornate, and He put it in our DNA to be way more than what we think we can be, if we will try.
Just try. I mean, look at this. All of this started just because I wanted to milk a cow. I didn't even think it was possible. I just took one little step. I just asked one question, did one little thing, and it led to all of this.
It's amazing. Wow, I thought I was just going to drink some milk today. This has been the coolest, man.
There is more to life than what you're afraid might happen. I wonder if I would have asked him if he would have let me slap one of those cheeses. They should just have one cheese that's set aside for slapping. Just like the public wheel of cheese that anybody can come slap, and just like you can see how all the slapping deforms it over the years. What happens to a cheese once it's been slapped 1 million times? That would be a cool part of a dairy farm tour.